Hi, Kat Chancellor here with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I want to show you some products that are online exclusives. They're only available in the online store. There's a wonderful flyer that I'll be putting out in my newsletter that kind of goes over all the products. It includes a beautiful die bundle called Hello Irresistible Sweet Collection, and also some foil paper. Here are the cards that I'll be making featuring the Hello Irresistible Sweet Collection. It's the Irresistible Blooms bundle and this beautiful Hello Irresistible 6x6 designer series paper, 48 sheets, 4 each of 12 double-sided, as well as these lovely loose frosted gems. We'll be using the Irresistible Blooms bundle for this. I love the framelets. Look how pretty that is. That's going to make a really pretty frame on a card. And here are the samples that we're going to be pulling together. I am using the colors Blushing or Petal Pink and Soft Seafoam. That's Soft Seafoam and Flirty Flamingo. That is included, as well as sponge daubers, because we're going to do some stamp resist technique. You're going to need some white embossing powder, so you'll need some Versamark. I'm using my stamping piercing mat and my silicone sheet. We're going to pull out the framelets that we're going to be using. It's simply the flowers and the leaf framelets, because we're going to do some stamping and then we're going to cut those out. And I'm using some ribbon that was part of Celebrations. It's really pretty white frayed ribbon. It's going to go on the front. Hopefully you took advantage of Celebrations and were able to get that. Now, I'm going to take some Soft Seafoam and my Petal Pink cardstock. I'm placing my stamps on the various blocks. And these are my standard D block and C block. I'm going to make sure I have a nice juicy Versamark pad. Just go ahead and spread the Versamark ink on the pad, and then I spread it with a letter opener, and then just simply stamp all the leaf designs on your Soft Seafoam cardstock. And then grab, I use a coffee filter. I have my white embossing powder. I just simply sprinkle that along and apply that. Set it aside because we're going to do the same thing using our Petal Pink. I'm selecting my backgrounds from the DSP pack that we're going to use for our cards. Our base card is going to be basic white, and I'm just simply scoring it here at 5.5 so that it measures 5.5 by 4.25 wide. So you should have 3 base cards of basic white cardstock, which measures 5.5 by 4.25. Now we're going to cut our DSP, and I'm using, this is kind of a directional paper, so I want kind of the design to go long top to bottom. I'm doing that with my second piece of directional cardstock, and I'm going to save all the pieces that I've just cut off, because that's what's going to make our third card. And there are some strips that we're going to cut using these pieces. So you're going to take these strips, you're going to cut 4 strips. 2 of the strips are going to be 5 3/16 long, and you can see how they can fit like that. But we're gonna play it up. We're going to cut them one more time, and we're going to cut them 6/8 by 5 3/16, right? So now I have some different widths that I can kind of play with and create the front of my card. And these measurements, 5 3/16 by 1 1/8 and 6/8 by 5 3/16, kind of give you a little bit more edge so that you can see the white cardstock on the bottom kind of frame these strips a little bit. So they're not meant to go exactly side by side. And I'm just simply going to use my multi-purpose glue and just kind of start from the outside and then work my way to the inside. And I want to alternate the patterns so that I have some visual interest in the front of my card. And that is what I'm going to use to place my this really pretty framelit piece that I cut out, and then I'm going to embellish it with some of these flowers, and I'm just kind of figuring out how I'm going to do that, but I just think that's really lovely. So the width of that cutout, the circle cutout piece, is going to be 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 square. And then I'm just going to pop those up on dimensionals and place that right there to create just that nice window design for the front of our card. And I cut that a little bit too narrow, so I just have to trim my dimension a little bit. Isn't that pretty? So that's going to go in the front, and then we just go ahead and we're going to embellish with these flowers that we've cut. So let's go ahead and watch the rest of the video. So I'm just going to grab my sponge dauber with my soft siphon and just kind of go along the edges of my label there to make it pop. And now we're just going to adhere that onto our cardstock. But I want to add a little bit more of a background, so I'm just going to grab some of the ribbon. And I'm cutting the ribbon, about 6 inches wide. I'm using some tear tape on the back of my DSP. That's going to secure it to the back of my base card, but it's also what I'm going to use because I'm going to fold that ribbon around like that, and it's going to adhere nicely. And then I'm going to add some multi-purpose glue to the back, and that is how I'm going to create our background with our ribbon accent. Now I'm going to layer the petals, the flowers, and you can do that simply by you've cut both the small and the large, so you can just simply trim around either one of the two shapes, and they've got plenty of petals that you can kind of create some kind of an interesting layer to the front of the card, so that way that flower is not so flat. See, and you just pop it up with a dimensional, and there you go. You can just go ahead and place it there on your card, and using some of the leaves that we embossed, you can do the same thing. You can simply kind of break up the leaves. They're either 3 or 2. Break them up a little bit, and you can just pull one leaf to just kind of act as an accent. Now I'm putting some dimensionals on my thank you, kind of at the top and the bottom, so that it fits over the ribbon. Some dimensionals again on the back of my flowers. That's the first thing I'm going to place, and then I'm going to go ahead and stick my leaves, and I'm going to use some glue and just kind of stick it back behind my my flowers. And I'm just using that one leaf just to kind of give it a little bit of an accent, and it's going to balance the leaves there at the top. Now I'm going to pull in that one white piece that was cut from the bunch, and I'm going to kind of add that in. And what this does when you kind of cut up a grouping is that it will give you more options for layering. Now here I pulled in this really fancy framelit, only I didn't cut the cardstock. I didn't use cardstock that was the length of the framelit. And if you don't do that, and you cut cardstock that is shorter than the framelit, then you're going to end up with this. You're just going to end up with a bunch of strips. So I'm kind of figuring out what I want to do with that, because I don't want it. I want to see how I can kind of play with it and make it adhere to the front of my card without having to do each one individually, because I think it's going to work. So what I did is I pulled in my little mini Xyron here, and I just kind of pulled in all the little strips, and then I pulled it out of my Xyron, and then so by doing this, what it did was it gave me the ability to treat all these separate strips as one strip when I pulled it off the backing after it went through the Xyron. I'm just kind of carefully making sure that they're not over each other, and I'm just going to go ahead and place those at the bottom of my card. So that worked nicely. So inevitably when you use your Xyron, you're going to have some of the adhesive, so I'm just using kind of my little gummy eraser here, and it kind of removes some of that adhesive so it's not on the face of my card. I can trim it with my scissors. I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue to adhere. So let's go ahead and watch the rest of our assembly. So there you go. You can see by using the Take Your Pick tool that putty end really makes it easy work trying to get all those little loose frosted dots in place. And there I kind of placed around the inside of our framelit. They come in several colors. I used some of the yellow ones around the outside. I also used them as centers for the flowers. So you can see there I used both the pink and the yellow for the centers and around the edges. It's just a lovely dye. I really am happy with the way it came out, and I love this paper. The paper is just gorgeous. So the Irresistible Blooms bundle, you can stamp the flowers. You have die cuts, but you can go ahead and cut the flowers and come up with some additional layering. The same with the grouping of the leaves. You can cut the leaves, and it gives you a lot of options for how to layer. You see how that one is layered there, and then I've layered this one here as well. So it really gives you a lot of options for how to arrange these beautiful blooms. I love the paper. The paper is really pretty. I love the colors. I think they're just really gorgeous colors. The soft sea foam, the petal pink, and kind of accented with flirty flamingo. There I've used some more of the ribbon. So there's ways you can either wrap the ribbon around your cardstock, or you can just add it as kind of a sash across the bottom of your card. So thank you so much. If you haven't already, please hit like and share. All products are available in my online store. Go to my blog for more information. And as always, I wish you happy stamping.